Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin from Florals.com and today is another episode of 2020 Creative Reset. It's actually a full reset for me because I haven't filmed in like a week or so because I have been gone traveling, but I hope you guys are excited for another video in the series. We're still talking about organization and I promise that that's not all this series is, so if you haven't checked out the rest of 2020 Creative Reset, I'll have the playlist linked down below so you guys can check that out. Now, like I mentioned in the last video, and again, if you haven't seen that, it'll be linked down below, the organization in my room is very important to the success of all my projects, of my creativity, of everything. So I thought I'd show you guys sort of the, not the right-hand man. Do you know that saying that's like the right-hand man? Well, mine's the left. Actually, my right side of my desk is pretty much open because that's my exit. But to the left of my desk is everything that's not on my desk, if that makes sense. So it's where I go to for a lot of things. So I figured I would, since we already saw the desk in the last episode, and again, it has not changed, the changes will be appearing in the next episode. So for the full craft room tour, you have to stay tuned till next week and definitely subscribe if you're not already. But we're turning to the left here, and this is not cleaned up, this is not edited, this is not altered. This is just what it looks like. So I have this shelving unit, which is just a two-tiered bookshelf. On top of that, I have a paper sorter. This was from an old office building that my mom used to work at, and they were getting rid of it, so I got it. A little drawer system, and then lots of random stuff on top, and we'll get into all of this. So this is sort of an overview of one of my main spaces in my room that you haven't seen yet, and then you'll be able to see the improved version in the next episode. And if you guys have any tips for how to store things, and hopefully you get some ideas here about how I store things and more like the lack of storing things as seen here on the ground, which I think is kind of embarrassing, but maybe some people don't think it is, but I'm really excited to share with you guys everything here. So I guess we'll get started here on the top shelf because it's one of my favorite shelves. These first two bins are both photos. So in here there are photos. I just knocked over some photos. Down here, these are photos in this photo keeper. Like I mentioned in a previous video, I do have another one of these, so I think I'm going to bring that in, see if I can stack them, and try to have my photos ready to go near me so that I find that I come over here all the time. Every time I sit down to scrapbook, I'm here looking through my photos to see what I want to scrapbook. Because if I'm not interested in the story, I'm not interested in the products I'm using, it's hard for me to get a page done. So that's what I have there. Obviously, these stamps were from my last process video doing a food stamping series. So you guys have to check that out if you haven't already. Next to that is my stamp storage, which I have shared previously. I do have a couple dies in here, but no, they don't normally go in here. That's somewhere separate. But I just have two shoebox containers full of my stamps in the Avery L sleeves, or off-brand sleeves if that's what you prefer, with dividers that I made from cardstock. Nothing too fancy, but again, I went into that a little bit more in a previous video during the craft room cleanup series, which this kind of is a spin-off of that, you know, reevaluating because I'm in a new space now. I did that series before I knew I was moving to Florida, so lots has changed, so I figured I would say this has pretty much stayed the same. These are all stamps that need to be organized or put away. I do have a lot of stamp sets still in CD cases, which are actually in a unit under my desk, just one of those pull drawer units, but I do have a couple out that I like to use a lot. Now, visiting the bottom shelf, again, there's a lot of stuff in front of this. These were from previous kits I had pulled out, so there's some paper pads, my markers. These are my Arteza markers that I keep in this organizer from scrapbook.com. Ooh, pardon me. My voice just cracked there. But these are, they don't fit, but I keep them in there anyway. I have my typewriter back here, which obviously doesn't need to go there. Honestly, I'd love to have more room up here so I could display things, but as you can see, it's more so, we'll get into it, but my typewriter sits back there. I have my sketchbook here, my die cut binders here, my punch board down here. Again, there's all those paper pads. But on the shelf itself, here we have kits. So this is a kit, the Vintage Heritage kit I did for How to Kill a Kit with Style 1 month. I kept that together, and I just opened this the other day, and you guys, there's completed layouts in here. I forgot I put them in there while moving because they hadn't gotten put away yet. This is my... This was inspired actually from Inky Quill. She keeps her doilies and tissue paper in one of these iris containers, and I keep mine in there too. So this is a lot of texture items. So doilies, paper bags, glassine bags. I have some felt in there as well. And then beneath that I have some more kits. So I have a Project Life kit down here. And then this is a really old HSN scrapbooking kit, which I did use once for How to Kill a Kit with Style, but definitely still needs to be used again. So maybe we'll bring that back one month. Then here I have my 6x6 and smaller paper pads. I have a couple that are matte stacks, so they're just in here willy-nilly. I want to find a better bin for these, mainly because this poor photo box, it's just a regular old photo box, let's see, is getting really heavy and they almost don't all fit. So I'm definitely going to reevaluate that. I know I have one of those plastic bins with like the crate holes in them, so I might revisit that. Here I have some projects. Well, one, this fell. This just goes in the 6x6. Here are some projects from Stampin' Up's Paper Pumpkin. Now, these were fallish themed projects, and I really just wanted to finish them, but I didn't get a chance to. So I'm still looking to do this because they were just in a drawer, but I have some other kits here. These are the Kids Club kits, and yes, I have probably had these since 2009. So I definitely want to get to making those. I have this random batch of scraps I need to go through, most of which, oh man, I remember this paper pad. This was Dear Lizzie Daydreamer, maybe? I don't remember. Who am I kidding? It was a paper pad I actually bought it Tuesday morning where the front was ripped off and it was on clearance, so I technically never knew what the collection was. So there's a lot of cardstock in here, some Halloween paper. This just needs to be sorted back in. This is back when I didn't have my whole scrap room with me, so my scrap organization had to be makeshift. So I have to go through that still. And down here is a bunch of stuff I don't use and does not need to be on this bookshelf, including my old Whisper inks, my crayons and colored pencils. Those you need to go with my coloring books. I have my alcohol ink pieces, which, guys, I bought these thinking, back in the day I bought these because I thought they were for inks. So like the normal Tim Holtz Distress inks. And I bought the wrong ones. But now I own alcohol inks, so it's not as bad. I also have my Creative Memories cutter, some flowers, some beads, and some fun foam down here, I believe. And there's probably more back there, but I'm kind of embarrassed, so I don't want to show you all of it. And then I also keep a lot of plastic sleeves down here, but I do have organization for those in my closet, so they definitely don't need to go down here. But whenever I finish a package of something or just want to take something out of a package, I do keep this for shaker pockets, for sending Happy Mail, all sorts of stuff. So you've seen a bit of the floor now, and I know someone else commented that the floor is their worst part as well, and let me tell you, I was going to show you guys my entire craft room, but one, I'm running out of time. This video needs to be up today, and two, there has to be a lot of cleanup to do beforehand. I have a lot of packages like with my address on them and with other people's addresses on them, and I just didn't want to risk it, me forgetting something or something being there that shouldn't, so I decided not to do a full craft room tour previously, but just show you this main cluster of nonsense that'll really show you the impact of me evaluating everything, you know, kind of dragging them out. In a week, you'll see the finished product. So I hope you guys enjoyed this section, but now we're going to move up here, which I don't anticipate this to change much. I've always had this organizer for my 8.5 by 11 cardstock, which, as you can see here, is sorted pretty much by color. I have my Nina Solar White over here, blues, greens, purples, pinks, reds, this weird burnt orange color that somehow got in here, yellows, oranges, and tans, and then these are all the browns, clipboard. I also have random stuff in here, so I have my 8.5 by 11 pattern paper, which I definitely don't need, and a coloring book, which again shouldn't be in there. I have cough drops because I was sick for a while. I'm doing a little bit better. It definitely doesn't sound bad now, but you know when you lay down and then all of a sudden you just have cough and sneezing and all that stuff. But this is my other neutrals, so my craft cardstock, black, and my regular white, so 110 pound and 80 pound, I believe, is the other size. Extra paper and an 8x8 paper pad. These are some cards I created from a card kit. Cute. Need to do something with those. And put them in my card organization, which does not exist. Underneath my cough drops, again, I didn't prep for this video. I wanted to show you guys a real life craft room because if it's not messy, has it been lived in? I mean, it's nice if you can pick up after every project, but I am not one of those people. This is my vellum, and again, additional extra cardstock. I have a bunch of inks here that no longer fit in my current ink storage, as well as my card stamp that my mom got me from Stampin' Up, so I use that quite often. This is my tear paper, some additional 8.5 by 11 patterns, and then these are some very large, I think 8 by 10, really large paper from Creative Memories. I'm not sure the size of that, but I got those a while back, and I'd love to use those. And then I almost skipped the left side here, but this is where my tools are, and I'm thinking maybe I should switch this around a little bit just in terms of which slot everything goes in. But here is my wax paper, my Xyron, my Guillotine Creative Memories trimmers way back there. It's just, I don't use it very often, but I think I want to because I know it does give straight cuts. Next is my stencil storage, and people do ask me how I store my stencils. For ones I put back, they just go on top, but the rest are just in an 8.5 by 11 page protector thing. It's just a plastic sleeve from something else, and I kind of sort them by size in here so I can just quickly look through them without them being all loose. Beneath that, I have more tools. This is where my stamping tools are usually. I currently have one with a project right now, so I have my Tim Holtz stamping tool, my watercolors, and then my thicker liner. And guys, have I used this more than once? No, I have not. I think we should probably do a series soon, maybe a tool series and using all my tools. I know a couple people have done that and have been successful with that, so we shall see. But obviously there's a lot of potential here. I really like this organizer, and I know these are very expensive, so I'm very lucky to have one, especially a name brand one that's, you know, sturdy and will last me a long time, and that I got for free thanks to an office closing. But let's move on to the top section. And a lot of you wonder with my face-to-face videos probably, what is that? But I made these floral arrangements. I don't know, I think I call them floral globes. I made those in a DIY video so long ago, back when I thought I was going to be a DIY person instead of a paper crafting person, but the other one has fallen finally. Again, they've been put together for years, and that's the first time it's fallen, so I'm quite impressed. But ignore that. We'll move on to the organization up here, just so you guys can get a better idea of, again, what I reach for a lot, or what I used to think I reached for a lot, to be honest. I don't reach for all this stuff all the time, like 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Yes, I reach for that. Card making especially. But I've kind of fallen away from card making, but I really want to get back into it. So maybe having these close by isn't a bad idea. And I don't think I addressed this other pile here, but these are more card kits. And then my notepad for details. Guys, I did not notice that this notepad had different designs throughout it. Ah. Someone should have told me that. I would have skipped ahead. Some of these are very, very cute. I mean, the front's kind of basic, but I still enjoy having a giant notepad to write down my video ideas, journaling, testing, dates, and stuff like that. But back to the top shelf here. The top rack of this little organizer, which these are in like the kitchen section of probably Walmart's where I got that one, but I have my button jar, which has not been opened in a year probably. And paintbrushes. Now, I don't paint a lot as much as I used to, but I do really want to get back into painting. I like doing acrylic painting, so I really want to get back into that, or maybe just mixed media painting, so we shall see. Those will probably stay out. They're very hard to organize otherwise, and these fancy, like, red set here, which I don't know the brand of, looks like Royal Nickel. They came with this dryer, so that way if you get your brushes wet, they sit out, they dry properly, but some of them fall through, so it doesn't work very well. So we'll see if they end up staying. This is my glossy accents that the bottle top is broken, and I know it's not in focus, but the bottle top leaked, so the entire thing's kind of sealed shut, but this down here is still usable, so I need to find a container, perhaps, that I could put this in that is seal proof, so I just need to buy another container for that. All of my paints are in this Michaels container. And by all of my paints, I mean the Dilutions paints that I still have yet to use. They're all in here. I bought all of these on clearance at Michaels. I think they were less than $3 a piece, but they originally retailed for $7 a piece. We bought them. We have yet to use them. Any card that is larger than 3x4 for pocket page goes in here. So I have 4x4s, 4x6. A couple 2x2 sets in here because they get lost, and then I also have some 3x4s that need to be put away into my normal organization, but I don't have nearly as many 4x6 or 4x4 as I do my normal 3x4, so they kind of just stay in there. Then we have this organizer here, and I get so many questions about this, and I am sad to report that Harbor Freight, where I originally bought this, no longer carries it. I have tried to link to additional options via Amazon or via Walmart. They had one like this, but I don't know if any of them compare to this. Now, I will tell you, you can kind of see all these bolts I had to put those all together myself, and it was a painstaking process, but I do enjoy how it works. So let me stand up so you guys can get a better look. So that previous view is me sitting down at my desk, so you can kind of tell that I can't reach everything on here, but I can still manage if I stand up. So this is the main mixed media section. A lot of these are too tall to fit on any other shelf. I have some texture paste and gel medium gloss and sprays and spritz and a little watercolor from Prima that I still haven't used, glossy accents, enamel accents, you know, glimmer mist. Like, where's the glimmer? All down there because I haven't used it. So everything goes up here that's basically too tall to fit anywhere else. The next shelf is more mixed media. So here I have my glitter glues, my stickles, my gelatos, which not a fan of, but I'm still trying to learn how to use them. I have some tools, so some blenders and some phrase stamps, more phrase and date stamps, as well as some buttons. Here we have some paints. These are a little bit shorter, so they fit a little bit better. So I have distress paints, shimmers paints, some acrytones. I also have some Ken Oliver watercolor, liquid watercolor. Really want to try that, and I haven't. This does not go here, but it doesn't fit in my other organization. So this is actually a glossy dimensional thing. And again, I haven't used this yet, but it's the only place that'll fit right now. Beneath that, I have a watercolor set that was gifted to me. Some shimmers, little, I don't even know what you call these, pods? What are these little containers called? Pots? And then behind that I have the pasties in marshmallow, I believe, and then mustard. And then I also have a Perfect Pearls. So you can see it's kind of a mishmash, but all of my mixed media lives here except for like my acrylic paints. Wow, this is tipping. You guys see that? But all of my mixed media lives up here in this organizer except for some of my inks. Obviously they're not all up here, and some of my paints. So a lot of my acrylic paints aren't up here. The next layer is tags. So these are all my loose tags. These are some package tags. And I found this random package of white tags, and I really wanted to keep the white ones out because I often look for white. Now I also have this here, which I don't think goes here. I think it goes with that purple tag, but kind of an empty shelf here that I don't need, but I love having tags nearby. I use them all the time. And then sitting back down, you can tell I can see the bottom shelf pretty clearly. I am rather tall, so that helps. These are my additional washi tapes, and again, they're not my most loved, but I do love them. They just don't fit anywhere else. So like, I don't need graduation washi tape on my desk, but I know my niece is graduating this year, so need to have those. I have a dog washi tape here. Why not? That's why. My cat washi tape goes up here. Polka dot didn't fit. So some of these are just too wide or too thick to fit anywhere else. So I have black glitter, regular black. I use this one all the time for a while, this Scotch Floral. Additional washi tape goes up here. Here I have my Inca Gold and my Dina Wakley Clear Gesso. I recently moved these off my desk in a previous episode. And then I also have stamps, which I kind of forgot were in here, so I should move those somewhere else because stamps are precious around here. And then additional foam blending tools, and then another empty one. So you can kind of see, due to the weight of this one doesn't spin nearly as nicely as these other ones do. There's also obviously stuff in the way, so I don't blame it, but that's what's in the bottom one. Definitely could utilize these a little bit better. Here I have a spare pocket page that I thought I was going to use and needs to be put away. This is my journal book, so these are stories. If you guys are part of my Patreon or haven't heard of my Patreon, essentially I do story starters every month. So I give you guys questions to think about and story ideas to document. And this is where I keep all the notes of the stories I want to document, and I just have them organized by this: people, places, things. And I also have a version on my phone as well, because sometimes I'm not in here when I think of stories. But here's my I don't use it very often. Mainly I use it for cardstock, but this is my scrap storage. So I have two of these magazine containers, which are 8.5 by 11. And this is where I put my scraps. Usually when I'm fed up with something, I'll put it in here. Like if it doesn't have a collection to go to or a paper pad to go to, it ends up in here. So I have some really thin Michaels papers in here, even though that's like a Page Evan Designs maybe. I'm not sure who did that one. Some Kaiser Crafts. So just random patterns go in this side, and then all of the cardstock goes in this side. Now this one's way too big. It does not fit because it's 10 by 10. But the rest of them generally fit. But I try to keep my white cardstock and colored cardstock now in these. So I keep an 8.5 by 11 page protector here so I can keep them intact. with their, you know, appropriate places, because I don't reach for these very often. So we might break those down. We'll see where we end up in terms of this series, because I only have a week to get this pulled together, so we shall see. Then lastly, I have this section here. This is where I put my little, I don't know what you call that, but that's where I put that to dry. My friend Selena gave me this bin. I want to store candy in it once I get some candy, but for now it's just pretty. I have my hot light, and I use this if I don't want my big lights on, because there's no other lighting in this room other than my hot light and my filming lights, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. On top of here, I have paper clips, an envelope sealer, and binder clips. I have some more to put away here. I have some of my cough drops again. They're just all in the way. Then we move into the actual unit. Embossing powders plus this green ink from Memento. This one is warm tones plus brown, so pinks, oranges, yellows, browns. And then this one is blues, greens, and yellows. I have a lot more blue, green, and yellow, but these are Distress inks, Hampton Art inks, any ink cube. I have my favorite things back there as well. Those are all my ink cubes, and that's where they live, in that little container. But that has been the overview of my right-hand man in terms of my craft room. Like I said, my right-hand side has the brass cogs, but you guys have seen those before, and I've shown them in Vlogmas before. We did a whole reorganization of my stickers as well during Vlogmas, so you can check that out. But I am excited to revamp this area. I don't think I'll have time, you know, in a week to do the entire craft room, but hopefully I'll still give you guys an overview of my craft room so you guys can get a taste of what my craft room is like and all that. And then the rest of 2020 Creative Reset, the couple episodes we have left, yes, it is almost over. It feels like this has been both the longest series and also like the shortest series that I've done. It seems to fly by, but mainly because I just have been traveling so much and I've been out of my craft room so much. But I hope you guys have still enjoyed, but we have lots of fun things to come. I'm going to share with you guys tips and tricks on how to, you know, make your craft room work for you. And that's what will come with my new craft room tour that we're going to do next week. And then also sharing tips for how to, you know, really make your supplies work for you. But plenty more to come. And I hope you guys did enjoy this little tour. Again, you guys don't get to see this very often, mainly because my chair is shoved up against it and it looks a mess like this. But that means you love it, and that means you're using it, so that's all that matters. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and let me know if you have any questions specifically about any of these specific areas, like old kits or photos. I know a lot of you have photo questions, and I'm definitely not the person for that, but we might make a video about that as well. Stamps, miscellaneous, 6x6 paper pads we're going to redo, 8.5 by 11s. Oh my gosh, there's so much up here, but I like having things out so I can see them, hence why I don't have, like, you know, closed cabinets or anything. Also, this bookshelf was free, which is why a lot of my organization is mishmashed, and I know a lot of you guys like that because that's how your craft rooms are. They're not perfect white furniture from IKEA or from, you know, anywhere else. I mean, I do have an IKEA desk, which I really, really love, but I do need to, you know, use what I have and try to make it work for what I have, because it's a lot of money to redo a craft room, and it seems so frivolous sometimes, but it's also our hobby and we need to think of ourselves. So maybe you do need a new organization if something will work better for you in a different light. So I hope this guys brings you guys some ideas for your craft room, and I have to get cracking on organizing this. So I hope you guys enjoyed again. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!